So, where Paul goes in this is verse 5. Our duty is this. Not a 3-point sermon this week, it's a 4. Number 1, be sober. Be sober. In other words, be clear-headed, restrained. The verse that Bill talked about this morning from Titus, self-controlled. Be sober. He's not talking about alcohol here, guys. He's talking about being clear-headed and level-headed and not driven solely by your emotions. Because while your emotions are valid, they may not be actual. They're very valid. Just may not be actually how things are. Be clear-headed, be restrained, be self-controlled, be sober-minded. He says to be sober in all things, but you be sober in all things. He says, endure hardship. Because we preach this, because we preach the grace of God, because we preach self-control, because we preach to be sober-minded, because we preach this gospel, persecution is going to come. You will be ostracized. You will be hated. You will be accused of having evil beliefs. That's one of the new things that's coming around. Well, that's just evil. Okay. You know what? I believe it. I think it was Isaiah, maybe Jeremiah. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he said that woe to those who call good evil and evil good. I believe it was Isaiah. We are there. We are there. Because what is going on in Ukraine, on one side is being called good. And it is not good. Because people are dying. Innocent people, civilians are dying. It is not right. It is not good. He goes on and he says, do the work of an evangelist. In other words, proclaim the gospel anyway. And then he says to fulfill your ministry. Do what God has prepared for you to do. Ephesians 2, verse 8, 9, and 10. For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of God. Your salvation is a gift. Bill covered that well enough just a few minutes ago. Let's move on. Not as a result of works. It's not because of what you do. Your salvation is not what you do. So that no one may boast. Lord knows we don't need anything for our egos to boast about, right? No, absolutely not. I know mine doesn't. Here's the key. Verse 10. For we are his workmanship. We are God's workmanship. We are his handiwork. We are his creation, hand-formed in the image of God. Okay? Created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we would walk in them. Your salvation is by grace through faith, not of yourself, not by works. But you are God's workmanship, and you have been created for the specific purpose of fulfilling and doing the work that God has prepared beforehand for you. People ask, I said this earlier, people ask me all the time, it's like they search an entire lifetime to figure out what it is that they're supposed to be doing for God. You might already be doing it. Because remember, at the end of the Olivet Discourse in Matthew 26 somewhere, he says that the people who have done good things are totally unaware of it. Yeah, because they're not. because they're not aware of the good they're doing. They're not keeping a tally. You cannot contend for the faith that you do not know. You cannot do the work of an evangelist. You cannot fulfill your ministry and contend for a faith that you don't know. As we wrap this series up, the church has been infiltrated from within. It has been infiltrated from multiple different angles and multiple different people. And in order to be able to tell the false, we've got to be able to tell the true. Got to.